What's up, everybody? Dylan Funk here. Welcome back into Frontier League Sports Live. Man, what a game we were treated to in our first ever Frontier League Sports Live game of the week matchup between the Louisburg Wildcats and the Tonganoxie Chieftains. Lewisburg getting the better of the Chieftains by a point for the second year in a row in overtime, 21-20, and yet another instant classic. We're going to be sticking with the Wildcats coming up here in our week 2 Frontier League Sports Live Game of the Week matchup as Louisburg will go on the road to take on close town rivals, the Paola Panthers. All right, and for the second week in a row, we're joined once again by head coach Drew Harding of the Louisburg Wildcats. 1-0 on the year, coach. That's got to make you real happy going into the weekend, right? How we doing?
We're doing good. We're doing good. Yeah, it's always good to be 1-0 and Tonganoxie's a really good football team, so we were pretty lucky to escape with that one.
Yeah, it was a second season in a row, 1-point win against the Chieftains. After having the weekend, you get the chance to look over the film, really dive into it. Give me your thoughts on how this team performed overall as you guys sit here 1-0 in a massive league win to kick off the season.
Well, I think any coach is going to say that there's lots of improvement that can be made after week one, and I don't think that we're any different by any means. We got lots of things that we can work on, lots of things that we can improve overall. Obviously, happy to get the win, but we got a long ways to go before we're feeling good about ourselves for sure.
Yeah, well versed up on the coach speak. I can already tell, coach, in your
Yeah.
third year. Well said. Obviously, one of the key points going into that game was the quarterback position with Alex Saad making his first start at varsity level this year. He had a decent game, over 100 yards passing and a pair of touchdown passes to senior Miles Bowes. What did you see from your new starting quarterback, and how did he navigate how he navigated the ups and downs throughout that game?
Yeah, I thought he kept a positive attitude. He was upbeat. He was ready to go all throughout the game. Even he threw an interception and it didn't damper him in any sort of way. He was ready to step up and lead another drive. Just like our whole team, there were things that he could have done better, and there were some nice plays that he was able to make. So I think that he's going to continue to get better and better throughout the year. Just like you said, it was his first start, so getting his feet wet, and then we're looking to see some improvement from him moving forward.
And staying in the backfield, it was clear it was Darby Van Eaton appears to be the leading running back for this team, while Ashton Moore, who was the leading running back last year, seems to be a more defensive focused player this year. Was that the plan all throughout the summer? And after that, what did you think of Van Eaton's performance last week?
Yeah, I thought Darby ran the football well. Darby's a good running back, and I thought he had the ability to break some tackles. I thought he was finishing runs pretty well, and getting a couple yards after. There was a couple plays where he was able to get a few yards where we really didn't have the play blocked up real well. So yeah, I thought Darby did a really good job running, and we're excited to see what just like our whole team, excited to see what kind of improvements he can make.
And talk about the offense. The defense definitely made a statement against Tongi, especially in the front six, made running the ball for the Chieftains more difficult than we've been used to seeing for Tongi in the past. And the pass rush, even though they didn't get a sack recorded on the game and made it tougher on Talon Langford, his first game starting back in a couple of years, coming off that knee injury, had a hard time trying to find his receivers. They only allowed 30 yards through the air and that one touchdown pass in overtime to Todd Brown. I go back to our interview last week, and I asked you about a couple of players on offense and defense that you were really excited about and who you were expecting to have big years this year. And you mentioned Lucas Schwartz. And when I was doing the broadcast, I think I called his name 5, 6, 7 different times. He was a beast, a couple of tackles for losses, including that final tackle at the end to seal the win in overtime for you guys. What did you think of his performance and the defensive performance overall?
Yeah, I felt like our defense definitely played better than our offense did, which is normal for the first part of the season. Your defense is generally ahead a little bit of your offense, but I thought they did a good job. Tongi's got a really good, rushing attack. They can really throw the ball. So I thought that they played pretty well overall. Schwartz, like you mentioned specifically, he just has a motor. He just plays hard all the time, and so there's times where he's able to make plays that maybe he shouldn't be able to make, but he can just because of how hard he plays and the effort that he plays with. And the stop that he had in overtime was a great example of that, coming clear across on the backside, just playing with that effort and energy that he always brings and making a big time play for us.
Yeah, you could tell that him and then paired with that with Ashton Moore, those two just have an energy about them that really you could tell it drives that defense and it motivates that defense. I think that's going to be the way that they performed in week one. Like you said, the ceiling's definitely it hasn't been met yet. I don't think. I think we're just going to see them improve as the season goes along. As the someone watching the game for both teams, I think you could tell obviously being week one, first game jitters, there were a bit of sloppiness at time, maybe a couple penalties, mental errors, miscues, mistakes that happened again for both teams. For you, what area do you think needs the most improvement going into next week's matchup with Paola in our Frontier League Sports Live game of the week in week two?
Just like kind of you said, there's just some missed assignments that were a little bit surprising for us to see. We felt like that we were pretty well versed in that aspect, but we definitely had some mental errors. And when you go back and watch the film, it's like, well, we got 10 guys that are on the same page, but one guy's not. And so that's the great part about football is it takes all 11 people and just some little corrections here or there to get all 11 on the same page and working together. And I think that will, like our results a little bit more. So that's going to be the focus for us this week for sure.
And the Panthers coming off that week one loss at Fort Scott, 42-27. It's always a tough group behind head coach Mike Smith, and they never give up during games. They always play tough. Who are the names that will be priority number one, starting with practice later on today, as we're talking on a Monday, during practice, all throughout the week, as far as trying to keep them in check on Friday night?
Well, that's kind of the really good part about Paola is that they can spread the ball around to a variety of playmakers. Good for them at least. Not so great for us because we gotta be lined up right and got to be assignment sound because any of the guys that touch the ball can make plays and they're really good. Up front they're really good in the skill positions and their coaches have been doing it for a long time and running that system for a long time, so they know it in and out and able to make in-game adjustments, which makes it really hard. I think a playmaker. I'm not great with names, but number one for them is for sure a big time playmaker, and you could see that in the Fort Scott film. Just breaks a ton of tackles, runs the football hard, explosive when he gets it in his hands. So we'll have to be good tacklers on him for sure.
Yeah, number one, you were just talking about JD Troutman. I feel like I've been calling his games. He's been playing the varsity scene, not just in football, but I feel like in every sport at Paola for forever now. JD definitely one of the most tremendous athletes in the Frontier League and in 4A as well. It's going to be an exciting matchup, Coach. Wish I could be there, but I'm going to be over in Tonganoxie calling the spring home game. But want to wish you guys the best of luck. I'm sure we're going to be talking later on. Just real quick before we wrap it up here, any final words again to Louisburg fans and anticipation of this matchup in a close rivalry with Paola?
Yeah, it's a big time rivalry for us. So it's always brings a little extra energy, a little extra juice. You kind of feel it in the stadium. So we'd love to see as many people as we possibly can to get out there to Paola. We appreciate all the support that we got last week, and hopefully you guys enjoyed the game.
And once again, head coach of the Louisburg Wildcats looking for win number 17 in a row against Frontier League opponents. Drew Harding, coach, thank you again for the time. Best of luck on Friday, and we'll talk later.
All right, thanks for having me.
Being around the Paola football program for nearly 30 years, head coach Mike Smith knows a thing or two when it comes to his rivalry matchup between Louisburg and Paola. His Panthers squad last week coming off a road loss at Fort Scott to drop to 0-1 on the season as they now return home in front of what should be a raucous Paola home crowd for their home opener as they look to take down the Louisburg Wildcats in league play for the first time since 2021. We're now joined here by head coach of the Paola Panthers, Mike Smith. Coach, thank you for taking the time today. How are we doing today?
Really good. Thanks for having me on.
Hey, thank you for taking the time. We greatly appreciate it. Coach, real quick, this is the first time that we've had a chance to really sit down and talk about this 2024 squad. You've got a lot of players who've gained varsity experience from last year who are returning, who are also multi-sport athletes, which I know is very important to you and the overall athletics environment in Paola. Just give me your thoughts on this year's team and what has you most excited about this squad.
So far, we've had some really good senior leadership. We've had a pretty good summer as far as weight room is concerned, and we had several with 100% attendance. I think we met in the weight room 36, 37 times, and then with scrimmage and practices and camp, I think we were over 50 contact times over the summer. So that's a lot of commitment by the kids. We have four returners back on offense that played last year, and then we have five back on the defensive side.
That is awesome when you can bring in those kind of numbers, especially over the summer, getting that level of commitment. That is great. And to bring in that experience, because I know last time when you and I spoke last year, you were expecting a lot of those guys who are underclassmen to really step up that year, gain that experience, and then carry it forward this program into this season. Can't wait to see how that plays out for you guys. I want to take back now last week to the game on the road at Fort Scott. I know the season didn't start the way you guys imagined. I'm sure there was a lot you learned a lot about your team, or you just saw displayed what you already knew about your team. Take me through your thoughts on the first half. It was a little bit of a slow start, just kind of what you saw and from the sideline, and what was your message to your team throughout those first two quarters.
Sure, we knew Fort Scott had a lot of kids coming back, and they're well coached with Bo Graham. Some of those kids on their team had been starting since they were freshmen, and so they've been built on this class for a long time. So we knew it was going to we got to be flawless in a lot of areas, and we started off by special teams on the kickoff coverage. Gave it 50-yard kickoff return, and that automatically flips the field for them and puts them in situations where they can go for it on fourth down by those big linemen. That Luke Harris kid, he's 6'5", 315 as D1 offers, and then the Garcia kid right beside him is 300 pounds, and the quarterback's a returning starter, and they were able to just physically mash at us quite a bit. And that was something that we were kind of questioning, can we hold up to that? Because we really can't simulate that size and how they exactly run their offense in practice. So we had to get up to speed pretty quick. And then offensively, we 3-and-outed and didn't punt very well. And so we never got the field flipped in the whole first half. And that was really a struggle. We didn't get it flipped through first downs. We didn't get it flipped with the punt. And they were always playing our side of the field. And we hardly had any snaps the first half. And they just ate the clock. We had a couple picks. And so turnovers, along with not flipping the field, really put us in a big hole. I think we're down 27-0 at half, which probably could have ran the clock off. They're right before half with 5 minutes to go. We probably could have ran that out. Instead, we went for a pass that got picked in that situation that gave them a chance to be able to score. They're right before half. Then we had an injury to our quarterback that we had to switch up some things going in at half.
Yeah, and that's just what I was getting ready to. It looked like it was Jasper Logan, the starting quarterback. I believe it looked like it was on defense. He might have taken a block. He was a little slow to get up. I know he was taken out of the game. It wasn't shortly long after that. You had the kickoff return by J.D. Troutman. At the end of it, got slammed down to the ground. Obviously, the Paola players, everyone didn't take too kindly to that. Flags were put on the field. There were some ejections. Just kind of take me through that moment as you saw it unfold. And then going into halftime, what was your message to your team in the locker room?
Well, when that incident occurred, it was a good return, gave us a little spark that we've been needing. And then immediately I thought it was a illegal tackle. They said he left his feet. We thought he got picked up and then slammed down. And his brother took exception to that. And so we had to try to regroup at halftime. And one of the big things we told him is don't turn this into a circus. Just go play football and do the best we can and show a little pride and try to win the second half. And I thought we came out and answered the bell fairly well.
Yeah, that was definitely a spark in that moment. Obviously, you would wish that that moment never occurs at all, but I think you guys did a great job of taking that, bottling that momentum up a little bit and able to use it to your advantage in the second half. It was also part of that second half is you already mentioned Jasper Logan being knocked out of the game. You bring in your backup quarterback. He goes for a quarterback sneak. He's a little ginger to get up. So it turns to your third string quarterback and the sophomore Blake Koslow, who also did a good job for you guys, providing a big spark on offense, rushing for nearly 60 yards and 2 touchdowns. How impressed were you with the way that he not only stepped up into that spot, but performed the way he did in that situation for the third string quarterback. That again, you got to imagine when he's going into this game on Friday night, he's probably thinking the chances of me getting in and getting under center highly unlikely.
Yeah, I mean he's taken a few snaps and he's experienced quarterback, but nothing like varsity football. And so for him to come in was definitely a bright spot for us. And he did what he was asked to do, next man up, and stepped up there when Brody got injured for a short period of time. He had the air knocked out of him, and Brody was doing some nice things as well. But then we had Costello come in. Things has kind of picked up a little bit. I think we blocked a little better. I think we ran a little bit better, and he made some plays, and Troutman made some plays, and the offensive line, I think, did a better job in the second half.
It was definitely a much better second half. It was a bit of a close game. I know you guys cut the second half deficit. It was cut in half at one point, and then Fort Scott got back into it. They would hold on to win 42-27. You're going into week 2. What area of this team do you think needs the most improvement before you host Louisburg?
Well, we're going to really focus on special teams is one area that we need to tighten up a little bit more. We had a PAT blocked and covering kicks. We didn't return. Our return game wasn't too bad, but that's one thing we need to work on is our special teams. Turnovers is another big one. You throw 3 interceptions, it's going to be tough to beat people and not take any away from them. We had none, so we were -3 on that. So we lost that end of it. And then playing more physical. I think that they did play a little bit more physical than we did, which is something Paola, we try to hang our hat on that, something we talk about all the time. And Fort Scott, I think, up front, definitely were more physical than us in certain aspects of the game.
You guys return home this Friday. It's our Frontier League Sports Live game of the week. You host close rival Louisburg, coming off a 1-point win at home against Tonganoxie in overtime. It's their 16th straight win against Frontier League opponents. The last team to beat them in league play, well, it was the Paola Panthers back in late October of 2021. How excited are you guys to have this home opener against a quality team like Louisburg and to have a chance to earn a massive bounce back win in front of the home crowd coming up this Friday night?
Louisburg Paola rivalry's been going on for a long time. This will be my 29th time as a coach in it, and sometimes we played each other a couple times in the season. We went to the playoffs, both of us. As a player for Paola, I played in it. It's a bragging rights for both towns, and they do a great job over there. I have great respect for Coach Harding and his staff, and there's some quality players. So just excited to play on Friday night at home.
I was talking with Coach Harding a little bit earlier. He reciprocates that respect right back to you, Coach. Should be a great matchup against 2 high-quality teams in a high-quality league in the Frontier League. Lastly, before I let you go, we were just talking about quarterbacks and all the things that changed throughout that game at Fort Scott. Any idea or any indication early in the week of who's going to be starting coming up Friday?
No, not yet. We've got practice tonight, and so we'll know with who can go, who can do what tonight at practice, and moving on, evaluating through the week.
Yes, sir. Should be a good one. Again, it's Frontier League Sports Live game of the week, Louisburg at Paola. You can watch that game live on varsitysportslive.com and on the YouTube channels, Varsity Sports Live and on Paola Sports Live as well. Again, Mike Smith, head coach of the Paola Panthers. Coach, thank you for the time today and best of luck on Friday, and we'll talk later down the road.
Thanks for having me on.
Should be an exciting matchup coming up on Friday night here on Varsity Sports Live on YouTube and varsitysportslive.com and Paola Sports Live on YouTube. Now let's take a look at the rest of the matchups that are happening this week across all of our channels within the Frontier League as we introduce girls volleyball and boys soccer into the fall sports lineup. We see there at the top, Tonganoxie volleyball on the road at Paola on Tuesday, September 10th. That game can be viewed on Paola Sports Live YouTube channel. And then we have the Tonganoxie Chieftains soccer team on the road taking on the Spring Hill Broncos that same day, Tuesday, September 10th. That can be viewed over on Spring Hill Sports Live. The Chieftains soccer team returns home on Thursday, September 12th, as they will host the Eudora Cardinals. That game starting at 6 o'clock, and that can be viewed on Tonganoxie Sports Live. And then for the rest of our football matchups, the Baldwin Bulldogs at the Ottawa Cyclones. That can be viewed on Baldwin Sports Live. The Eudora Cardinals and the Bonner Springs Braves, both of those teams looking for their first win here in 2024. That game can be viewed at Varsity Sports Live YouTube channel. And then Spring Hill on the road taking on Tonganoxie. That game can be viewed on Tonganoxie Sports Live. And, of course, our Game of the Week matchup between Louisburg and Paola can be viewed on Varsity Sports Live YouTube, Paola Sports Live YouTube, and our website at varsitysportslive.com. Be sure to check out our website, varsitysportslive.com. If you haven't already, you can stay up to date on all the upcoming broadcasts that will be coming up later on this year. You can watch past streams on demand, and you can find the current games that are in action there as well, right there on the homepage. Subscribe to us here on YouTube, Varsity Sports Live. Turn on that notification bell so you never miss an episode of Frontier League Sports Live. I'm Dylan Funk. Thank you all for watching. We'll see you next week.